Hello, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today I'm talking about two flagship devices from the likes of Huawei here and the Google Pixel Watch 3 here as well. One of my major complaints with the Google Pixel Watch 2 was that it was too small. This is the 45mm device, and I have to say, this is definitely the best watch they've ever come out with. Now, you'd kind of hope that was the case based on the fact that it is the latest version, but this is not perfect, and there are some definite drawbacks to this device. On the flip side, the Huawei Watch GT5 is again the latest device. This is not their premium device, so they have the Pro version and they also have an Ultimate version, which just go up exponentially in price. But I feel this is excellent value for money in terms of what you're getting, because the amount of things you can get on the Ultimate and the Pro versions is very similar. The differences are not massive, particularly in the West. So the quality of the materials used in the Premium and the Ultimate are a little bit better, but that is not to say that this is in any way a bad device. So I wanted to compare these two devices. Now, the Pixel Watch, let's get the pricing out of the way first of all. The Pixel Watch is expensive. This was 450 euros, so that is a lot of money. Now, what you get for that is relative, but first and foremost, I think that's too much. It's too much money for what you get. It is a good watch, it has a good screen, we're gonna get to all those things, but it's just too much money when you consider one of the major failing factors. The Watch 5 was 279 euros, which I feel was actually a really good price, and I think they've priced it correctly. Now, if you can get it on a sale or if you can get it cheaper than that, you will be very happy with this device, and they do look absolutely gorgeous. So let's have a little look at their design. So side by side, they look like that. And I don't normally wear a watch on my right wrist. I always wear it on my left wrist. So this is the one that I would normally wear it on. But depending on who you are and how you wear yours, that's how it will look. Now, if you look at them, the Huawei GT5 is 46 mils. So of course, the body is slightly larger than the Pixel Watch. But what's clever about the Pixel Watch, as you'll see, is that it is this kind of, I think of it as a pebble. I think of this as a flat glass pebble. So it's got curved edges, which makes for putting a screen protector on it really tricky, unless you get a silicone case altogether, but that would just make it look really ugly. But it is a very nice design. There's zero protection around the screen. So you need to be aware, if you're the type of person that bumps your watch on things, and almost everyone does, then you're going to catch that screen if you do bump your wrist on certain things. So be prepared. So whilst you get this almost seamless screen, which is really nice, then it's important to be aware that this is a very vulnerable screen. On the flip side, the GT5 has a really nice stationary bezel. Now this doesn't move whatsoever. You've just got this really nice chromed aluminium feel here. It is a little bit reflective on the edges here, but then it's got a matte finish as well on the body of the watch, which I think is really nice. So if we look at the features, we've got a push button here, and we have a digital rotating crown that is fully functional. This rotates the menus as well as brings us back or opens up the menus, and we can use this to zoom in and out or to scroll certain things as well. This is a back button, or it can take us straight to. Now I've configured this to go straight to a workout, and we can scroll using that there as well. So that's a good demonstration. If we want to come back a stage, we just swipe from the left to right, or we come back to our main screen by pushing in the crown there as well. So the functionality is really good. I love with the Huawei watches that they've separated the buttons, because this is very important. Being able to do that, particularly if you work out, anything that involves your wrist coming back is not gonna accidentally push any buttons. On the flip side, if you have this watch on now, if you have it on the right side, like I do now, then the button's not a problem. But of course, if I wear this on my left wrist, that button is obviously the first thing that I'm going to push against when I curl my wrist. So that is a bit of a problem for me. And again, it has the same functional rotating crown, like so. And then it has a button there as well. So it's very tidy. It does work nicely. They are configurable as well as to what you want them to do. They can do double press, you can do single press, etc. But they are very, very functional. Now you tell me, which one do you like the look of in terms of the panel? I think they're both very, very vibrant. They work well outdoors. They go very bright. And it is brilliant. I have to say, I do really like the number of watch faces you can get for the GT5. It was good with the GT4. It's even better now with the GT5, just because every day they are adding new watch faces that are really, really vibrant. This one's a very, very complicated one. There's a lot going on. You can obviously press and hold, and then you can select a more basic one or however you wish. So you can have a very, very straightforward watch face if you want, which is just telling you the time. But as you can see, it's extremely bright and really, really clear. On the flip side, you've got a little bit more curation on the Pixel Watch, where you have these prefabricated Google-only ones. Now, of course, it is running Wear OS, so you can install, obviously, third-party watches, etc., watch faces. So that is all available to you. And of course, the complications are extensive as well. Now, let's talk about the fitness tracking. So they're both, for me, very, very effective fitness tracking. I've had both watches tethered to my Honor V3 here. And as you can see, it is fully customizable via the application. Now, where the Pixel stands out and differentiates from the GT5, one, you can make payments with it. So this has full NFC support with Google Pay. So you can associate your bank card to the watch, and of course you can make payments. With the GT5, you cannot do that, and that is because of the ban against Huawei and their use of Android. But with the Google Watch, you can absolutely do that, and it works seamlessly, just like it does with the watch. So that is very, very useful, but only if, of course, you use the payment system on a watch. In addition, the differentiation between the watch and the GT5 on the Pixel is that the notifications are really, really good. So when you are notified of an email or a message or anything like that, it is a very subtle tap on through the haptic motor, and then you're presented with a very readable message because of the larger screen size from the 42mm that they had in the previous version. Then, of course, you can reply in various ways. You've got a keyboard here, which of course you can tap or you can swipe, or you can use voice, which I find to be really, really efficient and very, very useful. So of course, that applies through any notification that you get. If you get a WhatsApp through the watch, you can respond fully through the watch without ever touching the phone. In contrast, unfortunately, you can read the message on the GT5, but what you cannot do is type any message that you want. You can't use a voice message to respond. You can preset some responses, but you cannot respond fully. Now, where that differentiates is if you get a text message. If you get a text message, you can respond via the watch. So that's an advance and an improvement from historically. On the Pixel Watch, you can respond to all messages, you can send emails, you can respond in any way you want. That's very, very good. Now, here is the massive con in relation to the Google Watch and the GT5. The GT5 will last you a minimum of 10 days. That's 10 solid days of usage, night and day, on all the time. If you're using always on display, you'll get about 8 to 10 days. If you switch off always on display on the GT5, you might even get up to 14 days, which is really, really cool. The Pixel Watch, maximum I could get out of it without putting it into ultra saver mode is 2 days. So let that sink in. There is a huge difference between this watch timing and this watch. And I really don't understand why. I know there's a lot going on here, but there's a huge amount going on the GT5 as well. And why the batteries, I mean, I don't think it's because of Google Pay, I mean, that's a differentiator. And I also don't think it's necessarily because of Google Voice as well. So why these watches cannot last more than 5 days, whereas the GT5 can last up to 10 days on a single charge, is just unbelievable. Also, since I've been testing these out, I have switched this phone off, left it in the drawer whilst testing out the GT5, and this continued to use battery. So I charged it fully, switched it off, and then when I turned it back on again, after 2 days, it was down to 72%. I charged this fully, switched it off, turned it back on, and it's still at 100%. So again, I don't know what's happening in the Pixel Watch, even whilst it's in theory totally switched off. So if battery life is important to you, you're going to want the king of battery life, and that is really the GT Watch. It is absolutely brilliant. That was the same with the GT4, it's the same with the GT5, and it's the same with the Pro and the Ultimate versions as well. They are absolute powerhouses when it comes to battery life. If, however, it's more important to you that you can voice respond to any messages, emails, WhatsApp, text messages, and you want to be able to make payments via the watch, then this is definitely going to work for you. In addition, because Google bought out Fitbit very, very recently, you actually do get 6 months free Fitbit premium service, which is pretty good. Not quite as clear, I find, as the GT5. It's much more straightforward on the GT5, but it's very, very extensive on the Fitbit Pro, because as you can imagine, the infrastructure around health and fitness from Fitbit was already laid out, and Google have just adopted that really, really well. So you can find that you've got quick toggles to Fitbit Pro, which is loaded up here, and you have, I'm still getting the cardio load, I'm still getting readiness. It's still not quite ready. It has to wait at least a week of consistent wearing before it gives you certain information. But in terms of fitness tracking, I found it to be very reliable. In terms of the number of sports that you can add through the GT5, there's like 250 of them. It's absolutely bonkers. They have sports I've never even heard of as well that you can add to the watch, and then obviously when you start playing them, you activate it, and there you go straight into it. I've input the ones that are most relevant to me, so CrossFit, HIIT, paddle, strength training, those are all relevant to me, and it's very, very quick to select that on the GT5. If I go to the back button, this shows me my recent applications. If I want to select a workout, then of course I just go to what I've done, and these are the ones that I've hit. Now, it does not have paddle as a preset, but it does have tennis, so that's the closest thing that I could get. So that's what I set as a potential workout. But this has a great number of them as well. Most of them very, very common. Most of them are the ones that you are actually going to be doing, but it doesn't have as many as the GT5. Whether there's a significant difference in terms of it actually recording them differently, then that's fairly subjective. But I would say that the results I get are very, very similar. So then it comes down to, what is your preference in terms of design? They're very, very different designs. Put a comment below as to what your preference is. As you can see, the screen real estate is absolutely brilliant on both. They both work really, really well outside in bright light, which I am in all the time. But if battery life is of utmost importance to you, then this is going to be your winner, the GT5. This charges wirelessly and actually charges within 1 hour to get a full charge. This also charges within 1 hour, but it does use the proprietary 4-pin magnet charger that comes in the box. You don't get a charging brick, but you do get the charge cradle for it to sit on. And it, again, takes about an hour when it's switched off, so it's pretty good, but it's only going to last you a maximum of 18 to 20 hours. Maximum. It's probably going to be less than that if you're using it or taking phone calls, etc. So just a little post-production announcement. I will actually be sending back the Google Pixel 3 because it would appear that it's actually reacting on my arm. Every time I've exercised and I have sweat underneath the watch, then I find my skin is actually quite irritated. I don't think it's from the heat. I think it's actually a reaction to the metal. So let me show you. Yeah, so since washing after the gym, it's actually calmed down now, but that little depressed area there that you can see is actually where the watch is pushing into my wrist. But after I train, it's very often quite red and itchy. So I actually want to take the watch off, which is super annoying. And I don't know if it's whether I'm having a reaction to this material or not, but really that isn't something that should be happening, and it doesn't happen on the Huawei watch. So this will be going back because it is just too irritating, and I definitely don't want it to continue to do that. You can take in Finale phone calls on both devices, and they both work surprisingly well as well. Okay, let me know what your thoughts are on these two fantastic flagship watches. If you've enjoyed the video, please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon for my next one. Bye-bye for now.